What if Kill Bill was just a movie in the world of Pulp Fiction in which Mia Wallace was an actress? Long before Marvel created its cinematic universe, someone else had already done it: Quentin Tarantino. Yes, all the director's films are interconnected from the beginning. But what connections can we find? That's what we're going to explore together. First, keep it simple. We can mention the fictional brands that appear in his films. Many characters smoke Red Apple cigarettes. There's also the Big Kahuna Burger chain that appears in Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This might seem like just a nod or a technique to avoid product placement, but the Tarantino-verse was confirmed by Tarantino himself. A few years ago, the director stated in an interview that his screenplays were part of the same world. However, there are two distinct categories. According to him, there's the real universe where his characters live in the movie's universe. For example, Kill Bill is a fictional universe. It's a movie that characters from his other films could go and see at the cinema. To prove it, let's look at a simple example. In 1994's Pulp Fiction, during the restaurant scene between Vincent, played by John Travolta, and Mia, played by Uma Thurman, Mia talks about her acting career and mentions an audition she attended for a production called Fox Force 5. It featured 5 main female roles: a blonde leader, a Japanese kung fu master, a black demolition expert, a French sex specialist, and her own character, a knife expert. These characters are reminiscent of those in Kill Bill, making that film a movie within the Pulp Fiction universe. There are many other connections linking Tarantino's films. Often, he plays with family ties. One of the most well-known is the Vega brothers. They link Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. In the former, we meet Mr. Blonde, whose real name is Vic Vega, played by Michael Madsen, and his brother is none other than John Travolta's character Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction. Tarantino even considered making a film featuring the two brothers. The story would have been based on an anecdote mentioned by Travolta in a dialogue with Samuel L. Jackson in a car, where he talks about a stay in Amsterdam. The film would have shown this trip. Unfortunately, it couldn't be made as the actors have aged since then, but it would have been an interesting one to see. Some connections are harder to detect. This is the case for the link between Inglourious Basterds and The Hateful Eight. The connection is between Michael Fassbender's and Tim Roth's characters. Roth's character in The Hateful Eight is introduced as Oswaldo Mabrov, a British hangman. However, he turns out to be Pete Hicox, an outlaw. Advancing to World War II, in the Tarantino-verse, we find a British spy whose cover is blown while ordering drinks. This spy, Archie Hicox, is the great-great-grandson of Tim Roth's character. Quentin Tarantino has also extended his universe beyond his directed films. Staying with Inglourious Basterds, the film connects with Tony Scott's True Romance, for which Tarantino wrote the script. In True Romance, there's a character named Lee Donowitz, a film producer who is the son of Donnie Donowitz, the Bear Jew from Inglourious Basterds, who killed Adolf Hitler. In the Tarantino-verse, world history differs from our reality. This is also seen in the ending of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where Sharon Tate is saved from the Manson family. Some connections are so subtle that only experts could spot them. For instance, in Kill Bill Volume 2, when the bride escapes from the grave she's buried in, we can see a tombstone with the name Paula Schultz. The dates match the period of Django Unchained, suggesting Paula Schultz might be the wife of Dr. King Schultz. However, if Kill Bill is part of the fictional universe within the Tarantino-verse, does that mean Django Unchained is also part of the film-verse? Or is there a multiverse within the Tarantino-verse? There are other potential connections, but take them with a grain of salt. For example, it's speculated that Mr. White from Reservoir Dogs knew Alabama from True Romance, indicating a shared history. Additionally, in Reservoir Dogs, we learn of a character named Seymour Scagnetti, Mr. Blonde's unseen parole officer. In Natural Born Killers, which Tarantino wrote but Oliver Stone directed, there's a character named Jack Scagnetti. It's believed these two are brothers, further intertwining the Tarantino universe. The Tarantino-verse extends even further. In Django Unchained, one of Django's first bounties is a man named Crazy Craig Coons, who's supposed to be the great-great-grandfather of Captain Coons, the Vietnam War veteran played by Christopher Walken in Pulp Fiction. Speaking of Django Unchained, another wanted poster in the film listed Gerald Nash as part of the Smitty Backle gang. This name also appears in Natural Born Killers when his death is recreated for a TV report on mass murderers. Moreover, in Reservoir Dogs, the man tortured by Mr. Blonde is named Marvin Nash, suggesting a family connection. Tarantino's shared universe even includes some of his more outlandish films. He stated that movies like From Dusk Till Dawn and Kill Bill exist as movies within his realer-than-real universe. This means that characters from films like Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs might go to the cinema to watch these more fantastical stories. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we see Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, starring in a variety of films and TV shows. These fictitious productions exist within the movie universe of Tarantino's world. Interestingly, the stuntman character Randy, played by Kurt Russell in the film, might be related to stuntman Mike from Death Proof, also played by Russell. So what's your favorite connection in the Tarantino universe? Is there a link you've spotted that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below.